Hello, everybody. This is Eric Virathaler of Virathaler Studios, here once again, here for the next episode of Sit Down by the Fire. I'm here with my next special guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Melanie Wendt, and I am an actress, screenwriter, and director out of Montana.
Awesome. It certainly is nice to have you on, and I certainly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be here. And so I guess my first question. So I'm just really curious about what exactly was it like that started your whole journey?
So honestly, I kind of looked into it, and then this is a family thing. My father was a stage actor, and my grandfather did a couple westerns when he was alive. So I kind of have always been part of it. My first official film, I was 2. So it's
Oh wow.
always been, yeah, it's always been a dream of mine. But definitely living in Montana, I was told for much of my life that it was never going to happen and to find a real dream. And I just kind of kept going with it, and it happened. So I'm going to keep going with it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something that I was told too. I was taught that Montana is just not the place for that. And then therefore, like go get a real job.
Hmm.
But then what I found out in recent years that you can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well should go take a chance at doing what you love.
For sure. Like if you're gonna fail at trying something, might as well fail at what you love, and then you find out you don't fail.
Yeah,
Universe
yeah,
telling you to do it.
exactly. I mean, life is just too short.
For sure.
Exactly. And so pretty much it sounds like it was more of a family thing, and it sounds like that there wasn't really like a particular movie like that you saw that inspired you.
Oh no, honestly, it was kind of the opposite. So I watched so many movies as a kid that I wanted to be like all the jobs that the movies were showing. So I saw Silence of the Lambs and thought I was going to be a criminal psychologist for a good portion of my life. But then looking back on it, I realized that what I truly enjoyed were the films themselves. Like it wasn't just the craziness or the psychologists that were in it, wasn't just the serial killers. It was the magic that went behind the whole film. And so sitting there and getting to see my dad act on stage and getting to dissect movies with my mom, I was like, okay, no, this is my calling. Like just all of it. The acting, the screenwriting, the directing, I want to do all parts of it.
Yeah, exactly. So basically it sounds like Silence of the Lambs like was one of those films for it sounds like it was one of those films like that truly inspired you.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Anthony Hopkins, there's one scene with the guava beans or fava beans saying it and how he was able to like just in that box give that emotion and give those feelings. I mean, being able to just portray all of that with just your facial expressions is fantastic.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. And matter of fact, I believe that he even won an Oscar.
I believe so. I believe so. I know Jodie Foster definitely should have.
Yeah, and it's just a real shame, like, by the fact that when they made Hannibal the sequel, it's just a real shame, like, by the fact that she didn't reprise her role.
Yeah, I can understand, how she maybe didn't want to get back into it for her own safety, but gosh, her talent is unmatched, especially in that one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, Julianne Moore, I believe, who they replaced her with. I would say that that was a pretty good pick. Like, if they were gonna replace her, I think that that was a pretty decent
Yeah,
pick.
no, she definitely did a good job. Like she did it justice for sure. Excuse me.
Mhm.
But yeah, honestly, there were quite a few films that, like, in and of themselves, made me realize that that's what I wanted to do. Jennifer Lawrence, watching her grow as an actress, especially like starting in Hunger Games and getting to do everything that she's done, total inspiration. Same with Emma Stone, like all of these young women that I grew up watching grow up on screen. It's just kind of really fun to see how they were able to do all sides of it. They were able to act, they've been able to direct, they've been able to try their hand at writing and everything. So it's just been really fun to see how the industry for women has kind of been changing too. So it's really a good time to be in it, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, and like from what I've heard nowadays, well, I mean, like say 100 years ago, like before the dawn of the internet, back then it was said that you had to move to Los Angeles, but nowadays,
Oh yeah, nowadays you don't. It's so nice. Honestly, kind of post COVID, since all the auditions are self tape anyways, it's this is my setup. I have my setup in my home. I get to audition, and then if they like me, I get to go where the jobs are. I don't have to completely uproot my life and move to LA with a hope and a dream. I actually get to solidify myself a little bit first.
Yeah. Exactly. And so, and then I guess you could say that that's one of the blessings about COVID. Like, as weird as that sounds, because COVID obviously.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, it's so
Yeah.
weird to say that, my career was able to do better because of COVID. And I know it's a terrible thing to say because it was not good for a lot of people. It was terrible for thousands of millions of people. But honestly, with COVID and with making sure that we maintain guidelines, I filmed an entire horror film. And the way that we did that is just everyone went to camp for a whole week and we filmed while we camped and we camped while we filmed. And it was honestly really fun. It was an entirely closed set, but we got to like do summer camp and have fun and play. So it was kind of interesting, just the ingenuity that's come from COVID.
Yeah. And about the horror movie, I believe I know what horror movie you're talking about. Are you talking about Nexus of Evil?
Yes, I am. That is Nexus of Evil.
Yeah.
Have you been able to see it?
I've been wanting to see it, but when the movie came out, I had no idea that it even existed. And it wasn't until this year when I found out that the movie even existed. And so, and then what I did was that I reached out like to Brandon, like who directed it, and I asked him, "Hey, do you know when the movie's gonna come out?" He said, "Not off the top of my head, but as soon as I find out, I definitely will let you know." And so,
and I know that there's been some challenges getting it to streaming, but I know that they're still working on it. It was on Vimeo for a while, and it did have like a short theatrical release in 2020. It was weird. We filmed it in August, and it had a theatrical release for October. It is a very, very well done, campy B-list horror film, and I love it so much. Like, it is, you can tell it was definitely made in a week, and it was a passion project, but everyone poured their heart and soul into it, and it was super campy, and I love it.
So basically, it kind of sounds like something like what Eli Roth would have made.
Oh yeah, no, it was straight, nitty gritty, boots to the ground. Let's make a film, and the finished project definitely looks like it was, like I said, nitty gritty, but it's so fun.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And so according to your IMDb, that actually was your first film.
Yes, I was my first legitimate credits earned film. It was honestly 2 weeks after I signed with my first agency. And it was honestly kind of a fuck it, I don't know if I can swear here, I'm so sorry. It was kind of let's just get it done. I'm just going to sign with this agency, see what happens. And it was my first audition and it was my first cast. And I am going to forever be grateful for that film. It helped me meet a lot of amazing people. And I have realized that most of us since that film came out have been able to move on and do bigger things, including the studio that put on Nexus, Brandon and Eden. Vivento is amazing. They have a lot of really good stuff coming out. Actually, there's a movie coming out in November called Somewhere in Montana.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be a part of, and that one is honestly something I would suggest everyone see. I don't care if you're a film fan. I don't care if you're a Montana fan. The message that Brandon and Graham and everyone were able to get across, and Matt, is fabulous. Like, it's something that everyone really should see.
Yeah, and but yeah, I didn't find out about Somewhere in Montana until like April of this year when I took like the Montana acting class. Since that Jared is the one who does the class, and then Jared was the one telling me about it and everyone else about it.
Oh yeah, no, Jared was crucial to the film being able to be made, and I know that he played a very important part in it as well. So he's definitely a good guy to have on your radar, and to be on his radar, taking his acting classes is definitely a good call. And no, it was great being able to work with him. We worked on Nexus and on Somewhere in Montana together.
But yeah, probably like my favorite memory that I have with Jared, it was during season 1 of his class. Like, he was saying that he wants us to act out somebody who we know in real life. And so, and then I was thinking, a lot of people who I know in my personal life are monotone. And so I was like, it's kind of hard to think of somebody. But then I finally thought of somebody who I met years and years ago. He's a very argumentative person and all that. And he's very angry. And I thought, hey, doing that would be a lot of fun. And so then pretty much I acted out like as that guy like who has the agenda, likes to argue and yell at people. I will never forget Jared's reaction afterwards. He was like, "Oh my gosh, I actually feel like I'm getting yelled at."
Hey, that is one of the best compliments you can get.
But yeah, and and it's just, like it was just the way like how Jared said it, like just made it that much more funny and stuff.
No, that's awesome. He really is a good guy to have in your corner. One of my favorite memories was on the set of Nexus of Evil. Something was going on where we were a little bit behind, but we had time to fill. So the director, Brandon, looked at us. He's like, "Hey, can you guys improv?" And so we improved a whole scene that ended up making it into the final cut of the movie. And after we finished it, I mean, it was one take. Like, we got it done in one take. And Jared looked at me. He's like, "So how much of that was real?" Not a bit of it. Not a single thing. So we were able to completely make up a whole scene that made it into the final cut of the movie, just like that. And it's haven't been able to do that on many scenes, on many films, but that was definitely one I'll remember forever.
Awesome. So basically, it sounds like that. It sounds to me that you got Nexus of Evil primarily because of your first talent management that you were a part of.
So I had signed with them, but that audition at the time was completely self-done. The management team or the agent that I was with was mainly my modeling agent. She did dabble a little bit of acting on the side, but that's kind of something that I just really wanted to do. So I took every opportunity I saw on Facebook, every casting call, every anything I saw, I was on that. And so no, I self-submitted for Nexus. I submitted for Christina, and that's the role that I ended up getting. And Jared was the casting director for that. And I remember when he called me to say, "Hey, would you like this role?" It was like, honestly, as soon as we saw your take, that's what we wanted. Like, you were Christina. So I was honestly, not gonna lie, rode that ego high for a while. Like, my first self-tape audition, I got the role and it was a speaking role. So like, rode that for a bit. Was humbled very quickly because they don't all happen that way. But
Yeah.
it
Of
was a
course.
very nice high to ride for a while. And like I said, like, that movie, it's near and dear to me.
Yeah, and I mean that's something that I relate to because recently I actually was in like a country music video, and
I
how
saw that.
originally for that I was just going to be a background role, and I thought, hey, well, experience is experience.
Oh, for
But then
sure.
I was at the right place at just the right time, and then the director spotted me, asked me if I wanted a bigger role, and I'm like, well, does a bear shit in the woods? Of course I do.
No, honestly, that is some of the best feelings. I have been on set promoted multiple times, and it's a good ego ride for sure.
Oh
For
yeah,
sure.
definitely. And then yeah, and with that country, yeah, like with like that country music video, a what's what's really funny about that, I hated country music back when I was a teenager, and so it's really hilarious to imagine over 10 years later
Oh gosh,
I would be in a country music
the
video.
amount of shit I used to talk on Western films to now have that be like my majority. The amount of Western movies, the corsets I have worn, the big puffy skirts I have had to traipse around in, and I used to talk shit on Westerns all the time.
That's hilarious.
It's
So
just
yeah,
karma. It's ironic. Alanis Morissette should add it to the next song.
so basically it sounds like your situation with Western movies is very similar to mine.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching them all the time, every day, honestly. At one grandparent's or another, there was a Western movie on the TV, and I just thought they were so boring. Now, as I'm older and actually sit down and pay attention to them, I realize that they can be true pieces of cinema, but it's
Hmm.
just karmic justice at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah, and yeah, and, yep, and B, it was originally I thought that for that video it was just gonna be like some local band, but it wasn't until when I found out who Cecily Rose actually is, and that on her Instagram she has 1 million followers.
Yeah,
I
no,
was
she's
like,
doing good for herself for sure. Like, I know she's a good Montana girl, and I've been following her progress for a while. She's doing really good for herself.
yeah, I was like, oh my god, people are actually gonna see this.
Gonna see this. That's kind of how I was. I was asked to be in a rap music video last spring, and I was like, all right, cool. I've never done that before. We'll add that to the list of achievements. And no, it actually was like a really kick ass song and turned out really cool. So I don't know when the music video is gonna drop, but I'm excited to see the full thing.
Awesome, and was that filmed here in Montana?
Yeah, that was actually filmed here in Butte at one of our old speakeasies. It was really kind of
Wow.
neat, actually. Yeah. I think I have pictures and behind the scenes on my Instagram if you guys want to check that out.
But yeah, and I'll be sure to leave a link in that in the
Perfect.
description down below.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Just to make it easier for you. And so yeah, you're talking about that horror movie, Nexus of Evil. So there are people like who like horror movies, and there's those who don't. And I mean, at the end of the day, you can't please everybody. So would you say that horror is a genre that you enjoy?
Yes, horror is honestly my niche. I am one of those weird people that can sit there and watch horror movies and just not even raise my heart rate whatsoever. Like that's one of my obsessions, if I'm being completely honest.
Awesome. So but yeah, well, and I mean, that is definitely great to know, because if I were to be honest, horror definitely would be one of my, like, if I go on Tubi, like, instantly the genre that I go to, like, would be like the horror genre.
Oh,
So
for sure. There's just so many underrated masterpieces when it comes to horror, and I know that they're always looked over for the big awards, and that is really heartbreaking because there is some beautiful films out there that just fall solidly into the horror category.
there is, yeah. Would you say that you have a favorite horror film?
I mean, if we're looking like old school nostalgia favorite, it's gonna be Halloween. Like the actual
Oh
straight up slashers. Those ones always have my heart. Even the remake, it was not bad whatsoever. I enjoy that. But if we're going for straight up like actually viscerally makes me uncomfortable and one that I will not watch again because it made me so uncomfortable, Mother with Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem. Have you seen that one?
I saw that one once, like a long time ago, but I don't really remember a whole lot about it.
Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna do too much spoilers because that's not, I just don't spoil. But I have seen it 1.5 times, and the half time was just because I wanted to show it to my parents, and I said, "Sit down and watch this." I have to leave the room. There's one scene in particular that, if you are a parent, I will trigger warn. Like, if you're a parent, there is a scene in there that is very upsetting. But even throughout the rest of it, TLDR, this woman has like a beautiful house and all sorts of people keep showing up. And the way that the camera is done and the way that acting is done and the way that everything is done, it literally made my skin feel like there is just so many people around. You're in my house, get out of my house. Like, it made me feel that. And that doesn't happen a lot. I can watch Rob Zombie films. I can watch Saw. I can watch like whatever else in the horror category. But this movie made my skin crawl. And I mean that with the highest, most praise.
Yeah, that was an experience that was similar to me when I saw the Human Centipede.
Oh gosh, yeah, that one's just disturbing for the fun of being disturbing.
Yeah, have you seen it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when I first found out about it, it was when I was in high school. My friend Kenny told me about it. He said it was nasty. When he said nasty, I thought he meant nasty as in like bloody and gory.
Oh yeah, no, it's just nasty.
Then I saw the movie. I was like, and originally I thought it was going to be about some half human, half centipede monster that attacked people. Boy, was I wrong.
Oh yeah, no. So
And
much worse.
and when I saw the movie, I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and I was eating macaroni and cheese while watching it. And when it got to that infamous scene, if you know what I mean, I was like,
Yeah, I'm just
my jaw was
not
dropped.
gonna eat anymore. Nope.
Yeah, like that movie mentally scarred me
Oh gosh, I don't blame you.
because it just made me think, what if that was me?
And any of the positions would not be good to be the one.
I would rather be the front, because at least you can eat normal food.
I mean, yeah, but still, just that guilt. That guilt would eat me alive, I think.
Oh yeah, that would eat me alive too. And yeah, and then they made a part 2 and a part 3. And did you ever see?
Yeah, I stopped after 2. I don't want to know how much worse they get in 3.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I will never forget that my jaw was dropped to the floor when I was watching the original movie. I was watching it with my friend Sebastian at that time, And after the movie, I was speechless. And then I asked him, "What were your thoughts on the movie?" And he looked down and he grabbed out my guitar. He was playing it. He said, "That movie was nasty."
That really is the only way to describe it.
Yeah. And did you ever see the South Park parody?
Oh gosh, yes, with the Sentai pad.
That was funny as hell.
Oh, I love South Park. I will probably, no one would expect that looking at me, but I am a huge fan of South Park.
Same as well. But, I haven't watched it as much in recent years because, I've been doing my own thing with pursuing what I want with my life. So I haven't had as much time.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely difficult. Like it's weird being in the industry and not being able to enjoy the fruits of the industry.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I saw I saw on your Facebook you actually are a member of SAG. How did that come about?
So I'm actually in that really sweet spot that's referred to as SAG eligible. So I can work SAG projects, but I don't have to not work not SAG projects. So I can do both union or non-union. And it kind of actually happened with being promoted on set, like we were talking about earlier. I was on set of a SAG project as a background at the time. And it happened that as I was being background, one of the main characters comes, and as some actors do, they'll interact with background and pull them in. And the main actor, Timothy V. Murphy, who is just this awesome guy, very sweet Irishman, he grabbed me and kissed me, and it was like, oh wait, so sorry, is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It was actually awesome. Before we even started, since I had been playing a brothel girl, and there were a lot of other brothel girls, the director, the producer, the assistant director, and the intimacy coordinator on set all came up to all of us who were playing brothel girls and were like, hey, what do you consent to? Are you okay with being grabbed? Are you okay with being kissed? Are you okay with this? Like, let us know what you're okay with, and we'll work with that. And I'm like, I'm good with everything. Like, thanks for asking. We're good. And so, yeah, Timothy grabbed me and kissed me. And then that was my on-set promotion, because I went from background then to actually like having a significant role. And so that got me what's called Taft-Hart lead. And so because then I had a role in an area and I got that extra credit, that's how I got SAG eligible. And so now, yeah, I'm in that sweet spot. I have a new agent. I can work both union or non-union. I just love what I do. I love playing pretend and having fun with all my friends. So I will work any job that comes my way. So I'm not too picky.
So yeah, so I saw you with NAS Talent Management,
Yes.
and so are you still associated with them now, or are you seeing someone else now?
Nope. So NAS is my agent now. Jenny Sachs is my agent, and she is absolutely fabulous. I love her so much, and I will never trade her if I can avoid it. But yep, no, that's who I've been with them since 2021, I believe.
Yeah, and it's just crazy to imagine like that was 3 years ago now. So
yeah, and the amount of credits I've been able to build in just honestly, I officially started acting professionally in November of 2019. And just the amount of credits I've been able to build since then, I'm so grateful. I'm so lucky. I know that that's not at all the norm, being able to get onto so many bigger films so quickly. And I'm just, again, I love what I do. I love this job. It's so fun.
yeah, and I mean, life's way too short to not go do what you love. So you might as well should go do it.
Exactly.
And so I guess my next question, something that a lot of actors deal with is being told no, and I'm sure that you've had to deal with that too. So if you had advice to actors, like for them to deal with rejection, what would be your advice?
So that is definitely something that I have heard a lot as an actor, and you will hear a lot as an actor. And at first, I'm not going to lie, it sucked. Hearing no was like, oh, gosh, dang it. I put all of my heart and soul into that audition, and now I'm just supposed to move on. But as I've moved on and as I've gotten to meet a lot more, especially actresses in Montana and actresses, since we are such a small community here in Montana, we're up for a lot of the same roles all the time. And I've realized that just because they're telling me no doesn't mean that they're telling me no. That means that they're just saying, okay, you just don't look how we figured, you're too tall. I am 5'11". I am very tall. So I know that if they are casting for a blonde girl and I don't get it, but it does go to another Montana actress, all of the girls that I work with, all the girls that I've been able to work with, just because, the two that I'm going to speak about, I'm not going to use their names, but T and Z, we are all blonde. We are all in the same age demographic. And so we all get the same auditions. T is a lot more of the soft, enigmatic, kind of mysterious type feel. C is very like warm apple pie, girl next door, like gonna be your best friend, big old smile on her face, makes you feel happy walking in the room. Based off of what I've been cast in, I'm apparently the sexy girl at the bar, kind of badass that everyone sees. So I know that if I don't get it and T gets it, it's because they were looking for the soft. If C gets it, they're looking for the warm apple pie. It's not that they're telling me no. I'm just not the piece that fits into that puzzle. So I move on. I'll be the piece in the next puzzle. It works.
Awesome. And that's something that I dealt with too. Like, it was a little bit over a year ago now. I decided, I'm going to take that chance. And I already knew in advance not everyone's going to say yes to me. And I was making a lot of calls, like, to people in the movie industry just to see if anybody would be willing to give me a chance. A lot of people were telling me no. I mean, I was being told no so much where I was getting used to being told no. And a lot of people would have just given up right there and right then. Now, this is my advice, like, to people who face rejection. I mean, ultimately, you'll hear different people saying different ways of dealing with it, but it's just my way of dealing with it. That I heard a saying once that you shouldn't give up because you might be a little bit closer to your goal than you might realize.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on Valentine's Day, out of all days, Valentine's Day. So I called Kane Hodder's agent, Judy Fox, because I just randomly thought of Kane Hodder, just randomly right on the spot. And I must have said the right things to her at just the right time. I must have had just the right tone of voice and everything. I must have made a really good impression on her, like where she was asking me if I was union and I said no. And then she decided to take a chance on me. And then she gave me access to be a member of the Screen Actors Guild. And I was like, yes, after all that rejection, yes.
Oh yeah, after all those no's, that yes just tastes so much sweeter. Like, it's so,
definitely,
it's so nice.
Definitely. And I definitely had it was like I was proud of myself, but yet I definitely did get an ego boost afterwards, while yet trying to be humble about it and trying not to be arrogant about it.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's so hard to walk that tightrope between being proud of yourself and then like feeling like you're arrogant, but then also the imposter syndrome that I feel every true actor is going to have at some point in their life. Because like I still feel like I'm lying to people when I say I'm an actress and a model, but I have empirical evidence that it's true, and I still feel like it's not. So like it's a weird roller coaster of gonna ride the ego to what the heck is this? I'm terrible to I'm not even in this industry, and it's just it's fun. I love it.
Yeah, and what I find so ironic about all that is that I was told by a lot of people growing up, like, the horror movies are evil and that nothing ever good would come out of them. But if it wasn't for the Friday the 13th franchise, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So.
Oh, straight up. If it wasn't for Jamie Lee Curtis, there is no reason that I would be interested in what I am. Her, Jodie Foster, like we said before, Neve Campbell, like, these are the women that I grew up wanting to be. Like, I wanted to be that final girl.
Yeah, exactly. And now, even though I haven't seen Nexus of Evil, and I don't know how much you can say since that it's had a limited release, I sure hope that you got to be the final girl in that. But, I haven't seen it, and I don't want to, ruin anything.
Oh, no, not ruining anything, but I do get a significant amount of screen time.
Awesome. Well, that's great. And what I find ironic about Jamie Lee Curtis is that she's been very vocal saying that she's not a fan of horror movies, but yet, Jamie Lee Curtis has also been vocal saying that if it wasn't for Halloween, that she wouldn't be where she's at now.
Oh yeah, no, and that was actually one thing that we joked around a lot about on the set of Nexus, is that we all joked about how there are cult horror movies for a reason. They're called cult classics for a reason. They don't have a huge following, but they jumpstart a lot of careers, like Jennifer Aniston and Leprechaun. You know, most people hear Jennifer Aniston, they think Friends, but she got her start on a B-list campy horror film. Like, that's just a rite of passage I think a lot of us are excited for. Like, we understand that it's going to be part of it, but it's also something that we realize isn't going to be what we're famous for.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, one other thing that I would say to actors, and now there isn't anything wrong like with being famous. Ultimately, it's what you do with that fame that counts.
Oh, sure.
But I mean, at the end of the day, though, you should never do anything just for fame. You should do it because you genuinely love it.
Oh, for sure. No, for sure. And that's why I said, like, I love movies. I'll be in any movie. It doesn't matter if it's necessary. I got asked to be in a vampire kung fu movie. And yes, you bet your butt I was in a vampire kung fu movie. I probably would never have thought, yes, let's watch a vampire kung fu movie, but it was amazing and I had a lot of fun and I made some great connections and I'm gonna watch it when it comes out now.
Yeah, I believe I know what you talk about. Isn't it the one that they got Eric Roberts in?
I believe so, yeah. It's on my IMDb too. It's a Kung Fu Slayers.
Yeah. And that was one that I heard about, and I heard that for that one, like that they got that one funded from like the Big Sky Film Grant.
And it was really, and there was also another film grant, I believe, that they got out of the Chinese production aspect of it too, because it was cool. It was actually a team from China that came to Montana to film this movie. It was really neat.
Nice. That's pretty awesome. And I mean, especially considering that they got Eric Roberts in it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, that was huge. That was really huge. But that is another one of those aspects of, like, I got asked to be in it. I said, sure. I walk onto set. They have all these kung fu, like, actually masters there, stunt masters. And I'm trained in stunts, but it's been a minute since I had to do it. And they were like, hey, can you pull a handstand and hold it for 2 minutes? Sure. I have no idea, but yeah, we're going to do it. Yeah. And I did. That is another bit of my advice for actors. Don't sell yourself too short, but don't get too much of an ego boost. Like, I knew it was potential I could do that. If they would have said, can you throw a back handspring and land in the splits? Then no, that would have been a no.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So out of all of the roles you've had, what one would you say has been your favorite role?
Oh gosh, that's like asking Sophie to pick her favorite child. I honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I could pick a favorite. Like Nexus is always going to have a very huge part in my heart for being my first.
Right, of course.
Yeah, like, that's going to be huge. Candy, who I played in a short film that'll be out soon in Lana Turner's Eyes, that was a role that pushed me and challenged me in ways that I don't think I had been able to be challenged in before yet. And Allison took a chance on me and gave me a very vulnerable character. And I was able to learn a lot from it about myself and about the industry as a whole. So that's always going to be huge to me. My most recent role, just as fangirl in Somewhere in Montana, I know it wasn't a named role, but good gosh, just that in and of itself, getting to work with the people that I got to work with and getting to be a part of that message like that, I'm never gonna be able to say thank you to Brandon and Eden enough for that role. Like, I got to sit there and just shoot the breeze with some actors that I've idolized for years, like Michelle Hurd. Oh my gosh, she and I just hung out and talked for hours after rap. Graham McTavish complimented my acting. Like, that set and
that's amazing.
Yeah, that means a lot to me. Like, I will give it to Nova Vento and Brandon and Eden. I'm gonna say their names a lot. Thank you guys. Thank you for giving me all these shots and thank you for these opportunities. Like, I will never be able to thank you guys enough. So honestly, I can't pick a favorite. I can't honestly just pick one. I mean, there's three that are huge and monumental to me. So, and I know that I'm going to keep adding to it. I know that every set that I've been on so far and every set that I'll get to be on, I've met amazing people. I've made amazing connections. All of my memories are nothing but positive ones. Like, I'm so lucky I get to do this. and I know that
Oh
it's
yeah, definitely.
like, and I got to give a major shout out to my husband because he is the reason. Like, he is the reason I get to do all of this. I get to go have fun and play dress up with all of my friends because he works a backbreaking 12-hour a day blue collar job to be able to provide for me and let me do that. And so all of this is because of him, and I will never not give him props for that.
Yeah, and yeah, and I believe I saw on your Facebook that you two have been married for 10 years now, if I'm wrong.
Yep, nope, you were completely right. August 9th was our 10-year wedding anniversary. So,
Wow, I mean, being married for 10 whole years.
yeah,
That's amazing.
I am again just very lucky. I met him when we were still in high school. I got to go to my senior prom with him, and we got married when I was still 19. I got to spend my entire 20s with my best friend, who has done nothing but help me create this adorable, amazing little life we have together.
And so I guess how did you two meet? And I mean, it's obvious you're a movie fan, so I'm just curious. Is he a film fan too?
He definitely is, but he has said that being with me has given him a different way of looking at films because he was, just a movie fan before, but not necessarily a cinephile, not
Right,
obsessed
of
with
course.
them. Yeah, there's quite a difference. But it's so cute. We'll be sitting there watching a movie, he'll be like, "Oh, I really like that angle. I don't know if I would have done that dialogue." Like, it's just fun to watch him sit there and dissect it now. But originally, funny story, we actually went to preschool together, which we found out after the fact. But
No way.
yeah, we didn't know that until after. And then so we connected on Facebook, started talking on Facebook, and then yeah, after talking for a few weeks, connected the dots that we played as children. We grew up a couple blocks from each other and would like ride bikes, and you know how kids will always like, some from this neighborhood, some from that neighborhood would come in and out all the time. So we rode bikes together all the time. We went to preschool together, and yeah, just reconnected on Facebook over 13 years ago and haven't stopped talking since.
That's amazing. And then I guess that those days of preschool like was just what's the word? Like it was like a foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to look back and see how all like the events that led up to things like reverse butterfly effect it.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that he has seen the movies that you have.
Oh yes, he
And
has seen all of the ones that have been released. He's gotten to quite a few of the premieres with me. We are very excited for Lana Turner's Eyes to come out. We haven't seen that one yet, but I'm sure it will be soon. But yes, he's gone to the premieres with me. He's gone to the red carpets with me. It's been great.
awesome. Well, that's amazing. And then so yeah, so with your first movie Nexus of Evil, is he a fan of horror films too?
Oh yeah, that's actually one of the things that we first bonded over was our love of horror films, and we
That's
each
amazing.
have like a specific series at the time that we would not watch. I was terrified of the Saw movies when I was younger, and he hated the Grudge movies. So like we would always once a year flip it to each other, and like he would make me watch the Saw ones, and I'd make him watch the Grudge ones.
So you mentioned Saw, and it made me think of this. Oh man, when I posted this on my Facebook close to a year ago now, my Facebook exploded. So
Oh my gosh, that's so cool, actually.
yeah, but yeah, I actually got to meet Tobin Bell,
That
yeah,
is actually really cool.
and yeah, and it's really cool considering out of all things, he signed that.
Yeah, an actual Saw blade. That's really neat.
But yeah, I guess we saw that one coming.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a knee slapper there, Eric.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
I would go get my autograph thing right now, but it's like past my children, and if I go out there, they will scream and cry. But I have a flask that I have signed from all of the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC members that were part of Dead Seven.
Wow.
I worked as a PA on Dead Seven when we did that, and so I got all of their signatures on my little flask because Joey Fatone played someone called Whiskey Joe, and so he bought everyone a flask of whiskey as his thank you present, and everyone signed it for us. It was really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was a really fun set to work on. And talk about another horror movie that just, gosh, it was fun. But there were a lot of good memories on that set. It was my first actual taste of a Hollywood set, like a big production set. And it was a lot of fun. Like it was Joey Fatone, Nick Carter, Eric Estrada from O-Town, Jeff Simmons from 98 Degrees, like all of the boy bands from back in the 90s came together to do a Western zombie movie. Yeah, it's as good as it sounds. It was beautiful.
So, out of all the autographs you have, which one is the one that you're personally most happy with?
Oh, that's gonna be a hard one. Probably Graham McTavish's. I got one from him after Somewhere in Montana, but I am a huge fan of like House of Dragons and Outlander. Like my girlfriends and I all fawn over Outlander constantly, so that was an important one.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he also in one of the Hobbit movies too?
Yes, he played one of the dwarves, and now that you asked me, of course I can't remember the name of it, which one he played, but he was one of the dwarves in the Hobbit movie.
Awesome.
Now I have to look that up or else it's going to bother me all day.
Oh, it's all right. Well, I guess just to show off the autograph that I'm the most happy with.
Oh, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Hey, friend. Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's an interesting story about that. So I met a friend of mine named Vanessa, like who's a paleontologist, and she worked on the Jurassic World movies.
Oh, sick.
When I first met her, I had no idea that she even did. And then, I was telling her how I'm a humongous Jim Carrey fan and I wanted to get a hold of him my whole life. And then she was like, well, I actually did meet him at the Museum of the Rockies. So I can maybe throw you a bone and, see.
That's cool.
And it obviously worked.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Oh my God. I was stoked.
Oh, for sure. So did you actually get to like meet him, or is that just
not meet him, but I sent him a letter and then he responded back.
Okay, that's still pretty sick. Like that is pretty cool.
Oh my God. Like that was a dream come true, because I was told throughout my whole entire life that I look like him, and throughout my life I could do like those facial expressions.
Oh yeah, nice. Oh yeah, you're a pretty dead ringer for that guy.
Yeah, and then
no, that's
yeah,
so cool. So who would you say is like one of the famous people or actors or notable actors that you've met?
Let's see. Jim Carrey's probably the biggest one. Let's see. I had Victor Miller on this podcast. I didn't meet him in person, but it more so was like a virtual.
Yeah, well, like still talking like that's still meeting. This is 2024. This is meeting.
Yeah. So yeah, I was gonna say, like, it really just depends on what you mean by meeting, like in person or virtual. But yeah, I also met Sarah Karloff, who's a daughter of Boris Karloff. I've interviewed Lynn Lugosi. Yeah, oh man, but yeah, and I mean, networking is very, very essential when it comes to filmmaking, and so I've been busting my tail off trying to network. Let's see, yeah, Tobin Bell, and and earlier this year, I actually got Nick Castle, who was the original Michael Myers in the original Halloween.
That must have been cool.
I actually got him to sign a knife.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
But yeah, I guess you can say that was very knife of him.
You're just full of the puns today.
But yeah, I'm just so wonderful.
I love it. See, no, that's why you're the comedy guy. You do the faces and the puns. Good job. See, I'm the one that just screams her head off in horror movies. I don't feel like doing that right now. My neighbors might complain. No, but definitely working in our industry, it's like fun but hard walking that balance between, oh, hey, we're coworkers, but oh, hey, I'm also like just a huge fucking fan of yours. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Really like I got to do a scene with C. Tommy Howell and Trevor Donovan, and I was, flirting with him. And that's again, I never thought I was going to be like the sex symbol, the flirty one. Like I have played girl at bar in one form of another in multiple different ways. I just apparently pick people up that way. But they both came over and like complimented my acting, and to have C. Tommy Howell say, "Hey, that was really good," like that shouldn't. I'm a little small girl from Butte, Montana. That doesn't happen. Like he was a coworker, but at the same time, he was like just this idealistic like guy who I've been watching on my TV for years. Really weird.
Yeah, and that's something that I can relate to because when I interviewed Sarah Karloff for the first time, I put a lot of pressure on myself because that was the first interview that I ever did for this podcast. And I put so much pressure on myself. And I feel like that it shows during the interview. And so I've come a long ways. But the thing that helped me realize that they are people too is that during that first interview with Sarah Karloff, like my dog out of complete nowhere decided to come up behind me on my bed. And Sarah Karloff just fell in love with my dog.
That's so sweet.
And then, and then that right there, I really felt like that humanized Sarah Karloff rather than just imagining her as, oh my God, she's the daughter of Boris Karloff, to imagining, okay, she's a person too. And which is funny, it's because of the mascot of my YouTube channel, like actually is molded.
Oh, that's cute. I love him.
But yeah, so he's molded like after my dog, and yeah, and I mean, you probably see my Facebook. I'm definitely a really big dog person.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
I love my puppies.
So yeah, and then afterwards, my friend who I did that interview with, he gave me very true advice, but also put in a very humorous way. He said, Eric, they all poop too.
I mean, that is very true. That is true.
Yeah, and then afterwards, doing all my interviews afterwards and meeting all these people afterwards, it made it a lot easier once when you remember that they're people too, like how I had Michelle Dawson on, like from Halloween Ends, and I'm actually going to be getting her back on.
Oh, cool.
Here soon, and yeah, and I had an indie filmmaker on, like who actually met Kevin Bacon, and I may or may not be getting an autograph from Kevin Bacon.
That's so cool. Well, and like I was saying, in Somewhere in Montana, why the reason I'm not like worried that I'm not named, my name is Fangirl, is sitting there with all the people that were in that movie. Like I said, people that I've watched on scenes and screens for years and years. They were all sitting there telling stories about people that they've worked with that they fangirled over. Like Michelle Hurd was talking about how one of her first days on set, with one of the actors she idolizes, she got all mumble mouth and had sweaty palms and couldn't talk to them and everything. And I'm sitting here like, wow, that was me literally like 2 minutes ago. Like, and it's just so nice to know that, like you said, it humanizes them to know that we're all fans of something. We are all fans of art in its core. Like when it comes down to it, the people that make movies for the right reasons make movies because we really just like to play around. We like to create art. We like to play dress up with our friends and play pretend. Like really, truly, some of my favorite people on set are the hair and makeup and the wardrobe people. I have made some of my best friends in the state with the hair and makeup and wardrobe people here. And we honestly just want to get together and play dress up. That's so fun. Like there's no ulterior motives. There's no like bad money grubbing reasons. We just want to play. And it's so fun to know that even at my level, all the way up to people who have won Oscars and won awards, they just want to play and make art. It's so cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, going back to what you were saying, like how we both were saying about how people tell us, oh, you're in Montana, it's never going to happen. Or basically any sort of naysayer. I mean, that's something what actors like and actresses have to deal with, like with people like having like the criticisms like from like pretty much find any sort of reason to try to discourage you. And so what would be your advice like to anybody who wants to pursue the industry of filmmaking in general? What would be your advice like to how to deal with all that?
So definitely realize that it is hard. Like it is hard to get into the industry. It's all being at the right place at the right time in front of the right people. But if it's something you're truly passionate about and it's something you truly want to do, allow yourself the opportunity to learn the skills. So even if you're not on set or if you don't have an audition, if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to watch this new show and you really like that monologue that you saw, do it. Record yourself. There's an idea for something that you want to write down or you want to see in a movie. Write it down, act it out. Art is subjective, and you will be told to know a lot. But once you put your true self out there, you're going to find a whole group of people who are going to be willing to tell you yes. Like,
Yeah.
not again, I live in Montana. We live in Montana. It's small. There's not a whole lot to go on there. My first film class I ever took was by a poet, an actual like poet laureate who was asked to teach a film class. That didn't work out that great. Now that I've actually put the energy in and I do it, I want to do this, I'm going to make this happen. I'm in the LA Film School with people who walk the walk, talk the talk, write the scripts. They've been doing this. Like, I met one of the people who worked on Idiocracy, which to this day is still one of my favorite, not supposed to be documentaries, but documentaries. And he was one of the writers on it. Some of my professors are actual like published authors in the entertainment industry. And these people are telling me yes. Like, these people are saying your ideas are great. I have people from Hollywood telling me yes. So put in the energy, surround yourself with people who are going to help you and who want to see you succeed, and find friends who are like, yo, I got this idea for a script I want to shoot. Will you do a proof of concept with me? Find people that'll say yes. Surround yourself with those people who will give you the small yeses. So that way, when it comes time to work for the big yes, it's going to feel so much easier.
Yep, and which is something that I totally relate to. It's like once you finally get that yes, like it just makes you feel so good about.
And it keeps you want to keep going. And I know those no's hurt. And like in my Instagram, my bio is getting better one no at a time. I'm going to keep hearing the no's. But I have my small yeses. I have my friends that are like, yeah, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. That was a good audition. You got to surround yourself with those little bit of hype so that way the no's don't hurt so much. And then the big yeses are so much bigger because, oh my gosh, my friends celebrate me when I get auditions. They celebrate me bigger when I get callbacks. And holy shit, the support I get when I actually book a role. Like, that is amazing. You got to always have people in your corner who will hype you up even for the small stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. And I mean, ultimately, there's that old-time saying goes like that: you are who you hang out with. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, if you're going to be surrounding yourself with pessimistic people, well, and then that's going to make you believe that you can't. And, and
Oh, straight
so
up.
and so yeah, and so basically, as long as you believe that you can do it, you can do it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you tell yourself, no, I can't do it, well, then it's no wonder why that you're at
Yeah, it's a
where.
self-fulfilling prophecy. There is an NF line that I'm probably going to butcher, but it is along the lines of, if you look up every morning in the mirror and look at yourself and say you're never going to be great, you're never will, but it's not because of the hate. It's because you keep selling yourself short. I butchered that so bad. But it's along the lines of, yeah, if you tell yourself you're not going to be great, you're not. But it's not because you're not great. It's because of the self-hate.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, ultimately, you just got to practice self care. You just got to eat the right foods and, surround yourself with the right social circle and
The
all
right
that
social
good
circle
stuff.
is crucial. Right social circle and that right mental, like I said, it still feels like a lie when I tell people I'm an actress and a model. It feels like a bold-faced lie. I have to look myself every day in the mirror and say, you are an actress. You are an actress. You are a working actress. You're not a world famous actress, but you are an actress. And like, that is, like you said, the sort of good social people and the good positive mindset are crucial.
Yeah. And about the famous thing, I mean, I am very humbled like that people tell me this on a regular basis. But yeah, people always are telling me like that I'm going to become famous. And I'm like, well, I certainly do appreciate like that, the fact that people believe in me like that much.
Yeah, I don't ever know if I want to be famous, or I definitely don't want to be a celebrity, but I want to be a well-known actress. I want people to be like, oh yeah, I like those movies. I like those.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it just depends on the person. I guess it just depends on if they want that kind of attention. But
Yeah, I mean, it's all up to everybody else. I know that Shaquille O'Neal like is offended by the word celebrity because he wants to be known just for being a basketball player and a good basketball player, but not a celebrity. Which is there's a interview with him. You should look it up. It's kind of funny. Yeah, he like gets all this cute little disgusted look on his face when he's referred to as a celebrity.
yeah, interesting. I actually knew that about Shaq. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's funny. And I've heard a lot of other people say it, like they want to be well known for what they are, but celebrities just want to be well known for who they are. But
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we're talking about horror movies a while ago, and the current trend with horror movies that I've noticed is taking advantage of public domain properties, like with Winnie
yeah, that
Mickey
I
Mouse.
I did see about those. Those are really interesting. Definitely creative.
Yeah, which, and I mean, back when Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey was announced, little did I know that the actors played Christopher Robin, Nikolai Leon. Little did I know that I eventually like would become friends with him.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, and I'm like, wow, I'm like, who would ever think that I would become friends with somebody because of the public domain?
Right? It's weird the way the world works.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And so, I guess my question is, what are your thoughts about like that whole current trend?
I mean, I know that there's a lot of thoughts on redoing like sequels or remakes or things like that, but personally I think the whole idea of public domain but with a twist is giving a creative license. Like we all remember, sitting in high school classes and they'd give you a writing prompt. And I think this is just that to the extent. Give me Winnie the Pooh but make it R-rated. Give me
Yeah,
Mickey
yeah,
and Mouse but make it horror. Like it's interesting to see how people create and the way that people's minds works, because personally I never would have thought murder Winnie the Pooh. I never would have thought
either.
personally, but the fact that someone's brain did come up with that's just freaking fascinating. And I'm curious to see with other public domains, what else could we get? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to love all of the movies that come out of it, but it is just interesting to see how brains work and what ideas people come up with.
Yeah, like I saw that in a few years, Batman's gonna go public domain, Superman's gonna go public domain. So I guess
See, I
Batman.
know that they kind of like played with the idea of the Superman in that. Oh, now that I'm talking about it, I'm going to forget the name of it. It was like a horror Superman movie that came out a couple of years ago. You know what I'm talking about?
Was it a fan film?
No, it was released in theaters. Brightburn? Was that it?
I never heard about that, so that's news to me. So
Oh gosh, okay. No, I think it was called Brightburn, and it wasn't like marketed as if Superman were horror, but it was sure treated as if Superman were horror. And it was very interesting. It got really mixed reviews, I remember, but I'm curious to see it because yeah, it was like I said. Yep, Brightburn, 2019, Elizabeth Banks. What if a child from another world crash landed on Earth, but instead of becoming a hero to mankind, he proved to be something far more sinister? So
I'm surprised I'm just now hearing about this. Like, was this to theaters?
Yeah, it has Elizabeth Banks, David Denham, like bigger names.
How am I just now hearing about this?
Oh, well, hey, I got this really cool movie to tell you about. But yeah, it was really interesting. It was well done. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but
which I do appreciate.
Yeah, definitely give it a look and then let me know about what you think of it, because when we're talking about public domain, that was the first one that popped to mind. It was, but what if, it was kind of like, yeah, what if Superman, but not.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. And yeah, and I mean, before the Winnie the Pooh horror movie came out, I knew what public domain was. I just never thought much of it. And then it wasn't until when that movie came out, I saw how much money it made. And it really made me think more about public domain. So then gave me the idea that whenever I'm too busy, like with school, what I thought I could do is that on my YouTube channel, I actually can live stream like all these public domain movies, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all throughout the whole semester, just so in that way that it can save me time and the hassle of trying to keep up with content while trying to do schoolwork at the same time.
Yeah,
and
that's a good idea.
And that really helped to explode my channel. Like when I put up some of the Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes movies, because those are public domain.
Those are good too.
Oh man, that really exploded my channel. Like I was getting subscribers left and right. And I was like, wow. And I mean, the public domain really has done me wonders.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'll have to look into what all is public domain now, see what ideas creep to mind.
Well, and I mean, Mickey Mouse, as he first appeared in Steamboat Willie's public domain, but you've got to be careful because Mickey Mouse is trademarked.
Yeah,
So,
you don't hassle the mouse. That is one thing you learn even in like high school musical theater stuff. You don't hassle the mouse.
yeah, and I mean, Disney is the reason why copyright takes so freaking long. Like it used to be a lot shorter, but Disney wanted to keep the rights to Mickey Mouse. Like they continued
Well,
lobbying Congress.
and that's why so many things are now suddenly getting live action adaptations, is because then they can re-up the contracts.
Yep, and yep, and from what I've heard, Disney tried to extend it past the 95 term, not to get too political, but Congress was like, "You've had 95 years. That's plenty of time. Sorry." And
Yeah,
so
no.
then that's why it was such a big deal when Steamboat Willie became public domain. It's because it was decades in the coming, and that's why we're finally starting to get these works in the public domain.
Yeah, no, it's actually crazy how long it takes for some of those things to come out and like be.
95 years.
Yeah, that's insane. That's
So
literally insane.
yeah, because of that, unless if somebody shortens the on unless if somebody shortens it, we're sadly never going to see a Sonic the Hedgehog horror movie since that Sonic didn't first appear until like the 1990s. So
Yeah. No, not unless things get real chill. Although on that topic, the Sonic movies are like pretty legit, honestly. Like the
oh
new
yeah,
ones,
definitely.
they're really dang good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited for the new one in December.
Oh yeah, same as well. I mean, considering that they got Keanu Reeves as the voice
Oh,
of
I know.
Shadow.
Like I am so excited for that. My son and my husband are like obsessed with Sonic, so I have all the toys and all the plushies and everything just littering my house. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Sonic fan too, so I'm excited to see.
Well, you're certainly talking to the right person because I've been a huge Sonic fan my entire life. Sonic, that was my childhood. And then knowing that Jim Carrey, my childhood hero, and is in Sonic movies, I'm like, I wish I got these movies when I was a kid.
Right? And let's go back to talking about actors that freaking nail their role. Jim Carrey in the Sonic movies, like it's beautiful. And just knowing 90% of it is him just going in and doing what he wants to do for the script is freaking fabulous.
Yeah, and I also love like how like his character like how his Eggman evolves like throughout the movies, like basically like to become more like the games. Like in Sonic 2, he finally was bald and had the wax.
Yeah, no, they're actually like giving character development to it. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, and this time, from what I heard in Sonic 3, he's finally gonna wear the fat suit.
The actual clothes, yes, like the actual full shoot. That's gonna be so cool. No, I'm
Oh
like,
my
that
god.
is a good video game to movie adaptation, or like a good universe to movie adaptation, because there are some not good adaptations.
Yeah, not to mention any names, but yeah, but
Mm.
what I loved about the Sonic movies is that for the longest time there was like the video game movie curse where people would say that, oh, movies based off of video games are never good. And then that's why when they finally announced the Sonic movie, I was like, okay, this is the movie I've been waiting my whole life
Oh yeah,
for.
this is it.
And I was like, please don't. I'm like, please don't ruin it. I'm really glad they changed Sonic's design. Oh my!
Oh yeah, I'm glad that they took it the peer pressure well with that one. That one was good. Looks so much better. So much better now.
Oh my god! Like that original design, I
Oh,
would
it was
joke.
But let's talk about how awesome it is that they'll take constructive criticism and like actually go back to the drawing boards, because many other companies would not have done that.
Yep, and yeah, and I was so glad that they did that because if they would have kept that original design, they would have lost a lot of money
Oh, for sure.
and yeah, and that says a lot about them as people, knowing that they were willing to listen to all that.
Oh yeah. Well, and I know that that's not like that's what attracted me to it in the first place. So like I had no interest really in seeing the movie at first, but knowing that the studio listened to the audience feedback and was actually willing to like, okay, what does the audience want? That was huge. That was so huge, because like these are people that again have been diehard Sonic fans their whole life. If they're saying, "Hey, this isn't what I want," then they're not going to watch it. Like there are especially video games, especially video game adaptations. These are die hard, like decades old fan bases. Like there are people out there that live, eat, and breathe these video games that then they're trying to put into a 2 hour movie, knowing that there's a lot of details that they're going to miss. So just even knowing that they're listening to a little bit, that's huge.
Oh, definitely, yeah, and yeah, and I felt shattered when I saw that original design because I was like, oh no, this is the movie I've been waiting my whole life for, and they're trying to make Sonic realistic. I'm like, he's a blue anthropomorphic hedgehog who runs at the speed of sound. He's not realistic in
It's
the
going to
first
be
place.
realistic. We know he's not realistic. He's from space. Oh, I think we froze. Well, somebody froze. Oh,
Well, okay, it seems to be back on now.
okay, there we go.
Okay, but yeah, anyways, yeah, I would joke with my friends about that. I was like, that old design.
Oh no, we're cutting up again. Oh, that might be my fault. See, does that help?
As like a torture. Okay, well, we seem to be back on now.
Maybe. I hope so. I don't know what's going on, but
I don't know either, but anyways, yeah. Yeah, like I would joke with my friends saying that old design for Sonic was so bad. I could see Jigsaw from the Saw movies using it as a torture.
oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. That comes full circle. I like that. Oh, and we're still gonna break up. Oh gosh, yeah, no, he would totally use that as a torture device for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh my God, that design was. Oh gosh,
Mm-hmm.
Sonic had it rough, and
Oh,
yeah,
that's definitely.
people complained about his other designs, but people didn't know what it was that they had.
Oh gosh, yeah, no. I'm so glad they listened to the people.
Me too. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. So I guess. So I guess now would be a time to wrap it up. Is there anything that you want to plug in?
Honestly, just thank you for having me here. Just even being asked to be in this setting is awesome. Like being recognized for being an actress in this much is awesome. So thank you for asking me to be here.
Yeah. Of course, and I will be sure to leave a link in the description, like to anything that you would want, like your Instagram.
Yeah, please check out my Instagram,
IMDb.
my IMDb, my TikTok. I'll have all those links for him to add there. So that would be really cool. I do try and follow back everyone who follows me. I know that sometimes I miss people, but I do like to actually engage with my followers. So thank you.
All right. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, have a fantastic day, and we'll end this now.
Sounds good.